Hello, it's time for Lay Back with Betfair. It is Christmas. It's Derby Day. What a day of racing it is. We've got the Golden Eagle as well at Rose Hill. We'll touch on that. No Dave Streetall this week. Big shoes to fill for the Magic Man, Miles Pfitzner, as I welcome you in. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. No salts. I know you went to go and get Curly on. No Curly either. We're doing a welfare check on him to see
where Shane Churlio is.
If he's still alive.
He's in the lay bin, that's for sure.
So you've gone to the bottom of the barrel, but hopefully we can find a few winners. And you brought me in on Christmas. You did right. Derby Day, how good?
I caught up with Shane a couple of times during the Cox Plate Manicato Fiesta, and he was drinking white wine and probably cheap white wine, and he hasn't been seen since. So send prayers.
I'm going to get to that in a little moment because
okay.
with one of our favourite segments that we love in regards to the lay bin.
Well, let's get stuck into it, mate. Where are you going?
I'm going to start with Shane. With Shane,
putting him in the lay bin.
Just standing out on the lawn there at Moonee Valley with the full bottle of white wine.
Yeah.
Some rare areas from him.
He's an odd cat.
He offered me, and it wasn't like a Riesling or like any of the good ones. It was one of those real like dry sort of shardies. Yeah.
No wonder why he hasn't been seen.
No, just get a beer. Just go and get a beer.
Get in the lay bin.
Yeah, I'm laying that early, nice and early. What have you got?
English cricket team, that's an easy lay. Lost to Ireland, sucked in. That's good fun. I haven't got much else, really.
The barrier draw for the mares race. I mean, to get to the last horse, which was Yearning, right? Then they've gone, sorry, well, we don't have another ball.
How do you run out
of balls? For the barrier draw. So then apparently it was suggested that the draw, they could then, all the balls that go back in, they would then draw, they'd get that barrier and shift every other horse out. So we're laying even that decision that was going to happen. Then they've gone to the redraw, and funnily enough, Yearning's ended up getting one barrier wider than what it would have got the first time if they'd made that decision. So, yeah, the barrier draw and not having all the balls in the barrel, that's definitely in the lay bin, Tommy.
Lack of balls, something you're acutely aware of. Flemington race, we're on probably a soft 5 or 6, depending how much rain's around. Obviously, we film this on Thursday, but massive meeting, right on the true, first day of the 4 big ones. And let's start with race 1, the Carbine Club Stakes, Fitzy, and great race. Waller's won this race for fun in recent times, and I don't think there's any fangirls here, but it's a good race. Which way are you leaning?
I'm actually leaning towards Tijuana here. I've really liked this horse, and a credit to the team at Best Bloodstock. They've got this horse going really well. Look, I thought the run at Caulfield was actually pretty good in behind Golden Mile, and if you're within a length of Golden Mile, especially after we've seen that form come out and get franked, I reckon you're going pretty well. Before that, the Valley was superb, beating Fajita Sand and the rest of them there. I thought it probably the pattern might have favoured it just a fraction, but really happy with it there. I'm trying to find a horse to beat it. I can't believe the price we're still getting about Tijuana. I know Pungo from the Waller Yard and James McDonald short enough, but gee whiz, we haven't really seen enough from Pungo to warrant it being in front of Tijuana. So I'm all about Tijuana in the Carbine Club in the first.
If J-Mac wasn't riding Pungo and it wasn't trained by Chris Waller, this would be $10.
Easy.
So massive tax for James McDonald there, barrier 1. I mean, this horse beat a handy field at Warwick Farm last start, but it was a maiden on a heavy 8 at Warwick Farm and now steps up to horses that have been taking on Caulfield Guineas. I'm with you. I tend to lean towards the Caulfield Guineas form. Tijuana, I thought the Fortune Teller was really good there, probably carried Tijuana into the race, but Tijuana had shorter SP profile and was probably stronger on the line. So I think with that barrier draw, barrier 2, Mark Zara on board, I think he's probably the one to beat there in the first. I'm not overly confident.
I think we might have just found our lay.
Yeah, maybe.
In that race.
Pungo's too short. He has to
Way
drift.
too short.
Has to drift at some point. But Waller's won this race for fun, so I'm always a little bit wary. We'll skip over the Archer Stakes. I'm not too keen, are you?
No, maybe a leg run, but not all that keen at all.
All right, let's get stuck into race 3, the Rising Fast Stakes over 1,200 metres. Another really good race. So you just continue, and I reckon I'll know what you're tipping here.
Which way do you think I'm going to go here?
I reckon you'll go on number 7, Jamea.
It's included in my numbers, but it's also I'm not ruling out a horse here, also called Triple Missile. either.
Real good first up.
My old mate Triple Missile. And look, its first up record's pretty good. 3 from 4 first up. The only failure coming obviously back on the 8th where it ran in behind Gravina. This horse does tend to get a little bit better for the Lindsay Smith yard. I've got a lot of time for him. 7 from 14. It's a huge record. Can handle the sting out of the ground. If it's a soft service, 3 from 5 on the soft go and 4 from 8 at the trip. I mean, he's got a superb record. I think you've got to work your numbers around Triple Missile, Jamea and Gravina. So that's the 8, 7 and the 6 here. I'm probably happy to risk General Bow, probably happy to risk Generation, funnily enough. And like inside draw, J Mac, Mar Eustace. I know that might sound a little bit crazy considering some of the races that Generation's coming out of, even like 1.6 off Coolangatta back there in the Moya. But once again, I think the pattern favoured it there. So, I'm working on those 8, 7 and 6 numbers. And if you can get some value in either of those, you're going to get close enough to double figures about at least 2 of them.
Yeah, what price Jamea? About $11, $12 on betfair.com.au. I'm with Jamea, Fitzy. You almost falling off your chair. Oh, I think it's a good.
Every week I'm telling you how good this horse is, and you keep saying you're going to tip.
She hasn't won for a long time, and now I'm jumping on. Hopefully, she can win. You've been wrong the last 5 times, at least.
Five times.
She's only won 3 out of 16, but she comes out some really good races. Her 3 runs this campaign have been really slowly run races. Obviously, she brings good form into this. It's Sydney form. She's got a sharp turn of foot, which I like down the straight. She's got that turn of acceleration. She hasn't been suited off the back of slow run races. I think her turn of foot can get her out of trouble.
And she gets back, and so some of those tracks haven't allowed her to make ground. So
spot on. What she did in the Theo Marks was really good. I think she's probably a better horse on top of the ground. She probably should get a suitable track on Saturday. She's got that turn of foot. I think the straight might suit her, and at double figures, $13, $14, I'm having something each way. Number 7, Jamea there in race 3.
Oh, look at this. If we're lining up, Tommy boy, it's getting dangerous.
Look out. Let's get to the Wakeful Stakes for the fillies, 2,000 metres. Oaks lead up here, race 4 on the program. I'm going to go first here. It's not a race I'm too keen on, but Pfitzner interests me. Set a fast tempo last start in that soft 7, Caulfield in the Ethereal. Stuck on quite well there. Really good turn of foot between the 8 and the 6 as well. Put a gap on him and just weakened late, and she was probably entitled to. She was at first run at 2,000 metres. Second run at 2,000 metres gets the blinkers off, I believe, here as well, Fitzy. So can actually set a slower tempo. She doesn't have to lead. She draws barrier 2. If they want to cross her, she can get a nice run. So the blinkers off, barrier 2, soft run off a fast tempo last start. She can run well. A couple of others, I think Zenzella, huge market watch Zenzella. Now this horse comes off a pack and a maiden win, but you've got James McDonald on board, Kieran Maher. If there's any sort of money for this on the exchange on betfair.com.au, I'll be keeping Zenzella very safe. The other one is number 8, As Time Goes By. So very interested in this horse. Ran really good splits. 2,000 metres should suit her. Barrier 1 gets all favours. She's now 4th up, ready to peak. So, those are the 3 of interest.
And speaking of splits, wasn't that far off She's Lickety split its last start? And that form line's probably the one form line I'd want to follow going into this. As Time Goes By, I've got on top. Really don't like the race. If you're going really hard in some of these races and expecting to get a result, I think you're nearly guessing. I mean, a lot of these horses are on a path to
the Oaks.
To the Oaks, of course. But once you start getting these horses out over 2,000 metres, I mean, some will run it, some won't. So just be careful.
Be careful. Let's get to race 5, the Linlithgow Stakes, 1,400 metres.
Well,
the Linlithgow?
Right. Yeah.
Linlithgow?
Linlithgow.
Linlithgow. That's the word I was looking for.
I got
thanks,
you.
mate. You're a good man. Got salts covered already. Now, really, really interesting race. Deep field. $8, $7 a field. Impossible race. You can go first here, mate.
Look, Turath, Cinnawon, Old Flame. I'm not sure what order. I'm probably going to stick with horses maybe like Cinnawon and Old Flame in front of Turath. I know I'm probably sitting on the fence here. It's not really a race I want to play, and I do promise later in the show I'm going to do the old Sultan and declare a few for you. But look, Cinnawon, I've been waiting for this horse to get it right and put it all together. The thing that I like is that we're getting this horse back to Flemington, and he's only had one go at the track. Cinnawon. He's been racing at Caulfield and at Moonee Valley, and that run at Caulfield, in behind Agon. It was only 1.6 off Agon and Bandersnatch in there. I think it's probably just starting to come into its own. So maybe Cinnamon on top, back the drift. You're going to get, $13 or $14, maybe even 15 late on Betfair. Old Flame Turath to round out the numbers, but gee, tough race again, wide open.
For on a good 4, I'm going to have something in the Inferno each way. I know I've tipped this a couple of times. He just needs things to go his way, this horse. He needs a dry track. Funnily enough, if the Manicato was run on Friday night on the way the track was playing before the storm hit, if that was race 3 on the card, I thought it was a huge chance.
He would have won.
Played.
You were declaring him if he ran the night
track,
before.
off fence at Moonee Valley Friday night. That would have been perfect. Up to 1,400 metres. Now, is 1,000 metres up to 1,400 metres a huge query, but I think the Flemington, the big open spaces of Flemington might suit him. I know he runs well at Moonee Valley, but I like him. He just needs a firm track, and he's a good horse. So something each way, the Inferno for on a good track there.
Here we go.
Let's have a little bit of an education piece. I want to talk about gear changes.
Before we get to the Coolmore?
Before we get to the Coolmore,
right.
Let's get back to school. Now, back to school, there's a couple of things I want to touch on really quickly. There's so many gear changes out there that we look for. And we've got blinkers on, blinkers off, winkers on, tongue tie on, pacifiers, shoes, different shoes.
Nose rolls, crossover nose bands, the full kit.
Correct. Now, is there any that you look for when doing the form?
I think probably a main one's going to be like blinkers on for the first time. And I think when trainers wait a while to let the horse be educated, I know you sometimes hear a lot of inexperienced owners go, geez, if the trainer only whacked the blinkers on this horse, it'd sharpen it up quicker. But you got to remember, a lot of trainers are trying to get the horse to actually settle on its own and not use the blinkers. And sometimes they'll wait. And when you get blinkers on first time, if it's the right horse, it just does need to sharpen up a bit. Maybe just get that little bit of a perk up and a little bit more focus. That can be one gear change that you really know that, one, that they think that the horse is there to win. And two, if they've never done it before and they've waited a long time for it, they're obviously doing that for some reason. So go and have a look as to why. Go and have a look at those runs. But blinkers on first time, number one in regards to the gear changes from the positive aspect.
Yep. Now, obviously, there's negatives around gear, footwear and shoes,
bar
and
plates
stuff
on,
like that. Now,
synthetic hoof filler.
It's an interesting one because the market reacts to those kind of gear changes as well. So you might actually get value some of the time, but they don't win very often with the bar plates and any issues with feet. It makes it hard for a horse to win. I just mentioned a couple. Jamai's got Equicast first time, which is probably a negative, but race 4, I've just mentioned Pfitzner. Blinkers on last start and raced very keenly. Blinkers come off now from an inside barrier. I like that setup. So it might help it settle a bit better second time, 2,000 metres, race keenly last start. So that's an interesting one. Blinkers coming off, I don't mind. There's a few others. Tongue tie on. I'm tipping a horse at big odds off 2 average runs later in the program. Gets the tongue tie on. So that might explain that there's been an issue with its tongue, getting its tongue over the bit, can't breathe properly. Tongue tie goes on, might spark a lot of improvement.
You can see in reports, especially stewards' reports, when a horse will go particularly badly, and for people out there that maybe don't follow it that closely, that the tongue ties obviously keeps the tongue aside so that the bit can sit normally in the mouth. But this is where you can see a horse sometimes in the straight, it doesn't lengthen, doesn't want to fight on, is that it becomes harder for the horse to breathe, is where the tongue actually gets up in behind the bit and essentially blocks the airway. So you're dead right. Tongue tie on means that there was obviously an issue with the tongue at some point, which would then mean in turn that run it had was impeded by the tongue. So that's where you can sometimes get away with finding value in your form line.
Anything to do with feet and tongues and mouth, obviously, and throat, big watches.
Foot, hand and mouth. Sounds like some sort of disease.
We push on. Let's head to the Group 1 Coolmore Stud Stakes. This is always a brilliant race, and this year's no exception. I don't think 3-year-old races get any better than this. Group 1, obviously a stallion making race. Now, we've got Jacquinot here who beat In Secret at a Golden Rose over 1,400 metres. He ran the fastest final 400 metres of the day there, Jacquinot, when winning that Golden Rose. That form looks superb. We've seen Golden Mile come through that, win. Sir Jardin come through that and win. Jacquinot then ran the fastest final 200 metres in Everest, if you don't mind. beaten 1.6 lengths in an Everest.
Yeah,
That's
but set
A-grade
up
form.
off a hot tempo too. So
They didn't actually go as fast as you may think. Eduardo was disappointing there, but you can look at the data, it probably wasn't as fast. Eduardo had issues which made people think it was really fastly run race. Buenos Noches ties in through the Everest and through Giga Kick. Obviously went pretty close to beating Giga Kick when they met. And Coolangatta, she brings extremely good form through Bella Nipotina. So that looks fabulous now after what we saw in the Manikato. So hot race. Which way are you leaning?
Well, I think Coolangatta was favoured by the map probably in the Moya. I mean, a superb horse. I just think it might find this one a little bit too sharp. Let's start ruling a few out. Best of Bordeaux, drawn wide. Look, was massive the other day. I thought it was super. Absolutely airborne flying home. So, look, probably another one to be included. Sir Jardin's done nothing wrong. Big surprise win as well. Jacquinot, ugly draw here. It's 57. It's got 57
Is it an
kilos.
ugly draw down the straight? It might not be the worst part. You've got to like barrier 1 or 2 for Buse or 3. Like inside might be off. You just got to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm
Watch the
thinking.
track walkers.
I'm thinking that 16's not going to be great here for Jacquinot the way
fence,
I've got it. I reckon inside fence is probably where you want to be.
Yep.
So I'm probably happy to risk it. And look, a little bit more in the weights separates Jacquinot and In Secret this time. But I'm just like gate 9, J-Mac. He can decide one way or the other. He can sit just outside of him, not get caught up in the ruck. These races, especially when you get them up the straight, is you might think, oh, yeah, we're sitting like 2 back inside in the ruck. It's actually a really hard place to get out because even though you've got options to go both ways, it's a long way to actually go back in, out and around them.
There's also no bend for horses to wobble around and open
No,
gaps.
they don't open for you. When they run straight, they run straight. So you need a good draw. 55 keg, J-Mac in unbelievable form. He'll turn the tables on Jacquinot. In Secret, he's a star. They've had this mark for a long time. She's a star. Marked this for a long time, this I'm Invincible filly. She's been the pin-up for them and will be winning In Secret.
I'm against her at the price. So I could not take $4 about a filly in a Coolmore with such a big field. 17 runners. I think she's got the J-Mac tax on. I know she's a star, but she ties into a few of these. And I think there's a couple of colts out here that'll jump out of the ground and peak on the day. I just don't want to take $4 about her. So I'm tend to be against her at the price.
Where are you going? Natuno?
Natuno's got some hope. Buenos Noches is definitely some hope. Really smart horse. Run down the straight before. Jacquinot's ties in through In Secret. And then I think the other filly, Coolangatta's a nice mare, but just the 1,200 metres, or nice filly, just the 1,200 metres is a slight query. So my play would be wait on In Secret and be against her at the $4 at the moment in the Coolmore Stud Stakes. Let's get to the main race of the day, if that wasn't the Empire Rose Stakes, 1,600 metres, Group 1. We'll skip
Derby.
Derby. We're going to the Derby, the Group 1 Victoria Derby, and
the Penfolds Group 1 Victoria Derby.
Good drop.
Oh, good drop. Good South Australian like us.
It is. It is a good drop. Berkeley Square heads the market there as favourite. Sharp and Smart, Mr. Maestro right in the mix. Which way are you heading?
I'm going with Mr. Maestro. I don't think barriers matter too much sometimes in 2,500 metre derbies and oakses. I think you can get carried away with that as long as you're not like 4 deep the trip or 3 deep the trip. And I don't think Frosty's going to have this horse 4 deep the trip over 2,500 metres. Superb in the Norman Robertson. I thought the way, I'm just trying to find a horse on eye that I think is going to absolutely savage the 2,500. Now, that to me, if you look back about a horse that's going to hit the line well enough, that's Mr. Maestro. Done absolutely nothing wrong. Andrew Forsman's got this horse flying. Has to be on top. Can't believe it's still an each way price. Mr. Maestro. In behind it, Sharp and Smart. Done nothing wrong for Team Rogerson. J-Mac aboard. I'm probably thinking that Sharp and Smart is like the main threat. Barclay Square, as they're calling it, might be a little bit of a query at the trip. And then you've got to have your little nibble on the roughie is in Grand Piero. This horse...
We saw your celebration.
This horse had absolutely no right to win the other day down there at Geelong. It was an enormous win. And
looks like he'll stay all day, Grand Piero.
And a win that I thought was a fair way off pattern. So it came from the clouds. You want horses to do that in lead-ups to races like this. Anything happens in here. Mr. Maestro to win. Each way is the bet. Grand Piero, little tiny roughie, but wide open, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm kind of risking Berkeley Square or Barclay Square, however they pronounce it, a little bit. I don't know if that's the right form. I know the race rated really well, that Vase last week. 2,500 is a completely different ballgame. I love the winner, Mr. Maestro at Flemington in the Superimpose. I thought he was pretty tough last start at Caulfield as well. On that soft 7, he was wide. I thought he was holding Muramasa on the line as well. I thought he was really tough. So I've got it down to Mr. Maestro and Sharp and Smart, who brings really good form. Now, this horse was probably benefited from the gloaming being back from 18 to 16 when he was a month between runs, but I love that win. I thought it was a really tough win. He was strong there, and then he came out in the Spring Champion and went enormous again. So I've got Sharp and Smart on top from Mr. Maestro. Berkeley Square's a favourite, and I've got it picked 3rd or 4th, so I'll be against him at the price.
Pericles, some hope to maybe throw in your quaddy numbers?
Pericles ties in through Berkeley Square, obviously, and I thought that horse was really, really good last start. Quick backup. So it was 14 to 2040 at Moonee Valley. 3 weeks between runs or 2 weeks between runs, but 1,400 metres on a heavy 10 up to 2,040 will take huge benefit off that. You can't knock anything the stable are doing at the moment. So Sharp and Smart on top for me, ahead of Let's Roll the Dice, Berkeley Square in the mix, but I'm against at the price in the Vic Derby.
I'm ready to declare a couple here in the last 2.
Oh, you're stepping up. All right, Tab Empire Rose Stakes, 1,600 metres. Group 1 for the mares. We've got a short price favourite down the bottom over from New Zealand in La Creek. You're declaring a couple?
Declaring it.
Which one?
La Creek it wins.
Wow.
This horse is a genuine superstar. Hands down a genuine superstar. Thought they might have brought this horse over earlier. Maybe had a crack at a race like a Caulfield Cup even. I even thought that this horse could have gone, could have come earlier and attacked some of these other races. This is a proper horse. I would argue this could be one of the best horses to come out of New Zealand in maybe the last sort of 5 or 8 years. I know that everyone will go, what about Melody Bell? I know won a lot of Group 1s. This is a 4-year-old.
Shark was probably the best, but it didn't do all that mad excuses a lot of the times here. But anyway.
Yeah, I've been waiting for 2 horses to come out of New Zealand for some time. One of them being Imperatrice, and the other one is this one. And
went awful Imperatrice of late.
Yep, yeah. And so it's gone off the boil. But this one, the Alexander team, I've been waiting, and I'm so happy it rolled up with a 2 in front of it. This opened around $3.10, and you know what? The Smarties went straight in, and they said, "I'll take me some of that," and they've got it in now to $2.50. This will jump close enough to $1.80 or $1.90. They're going to absolutely truckload this thing, and I'm declaring it La Creek Star.
Good market support. I was really keen Fango and Hinge, but Waller's scratched them. Typical Waller. Might be going to the Golden Eagle in Sydney there, so. That's probably left me with La Creek on top. I think Nimmerley's the other horse of interest. John Barrier 2, soft run. I thought she was good last start. So Nimmerley might be the value in the race. But, I don't know what to do with La Creek.
Oh, if you go in, all these other horses around him, Kissing All Four Cheeks, Yearning, She's Lickety Split, they're all probably, if something went wrong, I just can't. Yeah, La Creek's going to belt the living daylights out of them.
All right, we finish race 9 at 5:40 p.m. The Furphy Sprint, Group 3. Another big field, nature of the day. You're declaring one again.
Asaphora, bang.
Asaphora?
They absolutely broke the clock last start. Had a chat to Henry Dwyer. This horse is airborne. And what you do is you get on horses that are airborne. I think Zapateo's the only one in here that can get anywhere near it. You go down, Najmati, even at its peak, I don't reckon. Isotope, I know, is Group 1 before, not racing well enough. Then go down through the ones at the bottom. They're only making up the numbers. This race is over. Once again, can't believe the price. Zapateo, the only threat. Asaphora will go bang, bang to finish the last 2. And we can go field in the first 2 in the quaddie, Tommy, and win some money.
Yeah, right. And then you can lay off. You can lay Asaphora as well if you're alive for a good dividend there.
You're not laying Asaphora.
No, if you're hedging, if you've got a big price, you can trade on Betfair, which is the beauty of the exchange.
Are you coming with me here? Are you coming with me?
Hard to fold her. She's a potential star. What she did at Caulfield last start was enormous. Flemington Straights and different ball game. It's just about price for me. I am having a bet on number 4 here, Bellucci Babe, at about 50s. I think she'll be number 4, Bellucci Babe.
Hang on, what?
Yes. Now she's got. You all right, mate?
Sorry, I'd love to know why.
So this mare we talked about gear changes. Tongue tie first time. She trialled really nicely. She won a Warwick Farm Barrier trial the other day. I assume the tongue tie was on there. She had 2 runs last campaign in August and was very, very plain. But you go back to preparation prior, and mares can do this. They can have a couple of runs. You go back to preparation prior. 1 length off Bella Nipotina, now a Manicato winner. Nature Strip, Eduardo, TJ Smith form. She ran 4th. She ran 4th in the Group 1 Galaxy. That form is good enough to run well here. She's $50, tongue tie on, off a trial win. Draws middle. I think I'll have to have something on her at 50s. Each way, all day. My best of the day at a big price. Bellucci, Babe there.
But your best of the day.
At the price, definitely. Yep. So that's my best. My best lay.
Oh, wow.
I'm against Berkeley Square at the price, and I'm against In Secret at the price. Hard horses to lay. I just think they're too short for me. Fitzy and Bellucci Babe, my best. I was going to make Fangirl my best in the Empire Rose, but she's out. So, yeah, tough day.
I am going to lay Pungo in the first.
Yes.
That can get in the lay bin, which is down. Where's the graphic? It's going to be about there. Yeah, lay. Get in the lay, Pungo. Two best. Let's go right towards the end of the card. Best is comfortably La Creek, race 8, number 14. Next best is going to be race 9, number 2, Asaphora. And I think you can pretty much save all your pennies and then just only have a play right in the last.
Gamble responsibly, of course. That's good, mate. Great show. Well done. Thanks for joining me.
What else? Well, hang on. What about the Golden Eagle?
You want to have a look?
Do you want to have a quick look at the Golden Eagle? Because there's one up there I want to declare too.
Let's do it. Race 8.
I'm in the declaring mood, Tommy.
Race 8 in the Golden Eagle. So they're Fitzy's best bets at Flemington. But Golden Eagle, why not? Rose Hill, $10 million race if you don't mind. I think there's 3 hopes, and I'll start first before you finish with a bang. Fangirl and Hinged are hopes now they're here. I was really disappointed they're not at Flemington, but I think Wellwell's a great chance. Light Infantry is a great chance. We've seen the internationals. I'll pump my own tyres there with the international Annabelle Neesham train last week. Get around me. That was good last week.
Oh,
my best of the day.
Oberon.
My Oberon was best of the day each way. It's just won by about 200 metres. Wellwell, Light Infantry, and Villana are the 3 for me here. You?
Light Infantry, very, very, very keen. We've been waiting. You and I did a Futures show, and we spoke about this horse, about keeping an eye on it. They've kept it tucked away. They've kept it wrapped up in cotton wool. They're big-time trainers. They're smart. They've got Jamie Spencer aboard. They're not taking any risks here at all. I've seen it working down the beach. The form lines around this are way, way superior.
Just swim down the beach, were you?
Yeah,
just walk past Light Infantry or something?
Then anything.
You're swimming past Light Infantry down the beach? Down the bay, a toner or something?
Yeah, the form lines around this horse are far superior to anything else in this race. I think Chain of Lightning, and I mean, everyone's forgetting I Wish I Win. I mean,
it's a great
fair
race.
income after Sandown, and it bolted in there when it beat Ayrton in the race before at Caulfield where it beat Gentleman Roy by 4 lengths. Everyone went this thing will win a Cox Plate. So I think Chain of Lightning, I Wish I Win. Moody's got a mortgage on the placings. Light Infantry, just if it's got a 4 in front of it, responsibly have a bet, please.
Love it, mate. Well, thanks for joining me, mate. Great show.
Thank
we
you.
might see you over Cup Week at some point in time. We might get you back, depending on how your morals go. But we'll see how we go. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back to do it all again with Layback with Betfair. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.